What is up, the YouTube Steem blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about this video. So Sacha he made a video. He's an English comedian, and he basically made an interesting video talking about Facebook and the idea of regulating these private companies, regulating social media, basically. So Sacha basically needs to try Steem blockchain. So we in the Steem blockchain sort of community, we sort of been, well, if you just look at this sort of industry, you look at the regular social media and this idea of kind of regulate it. So you have these big companies that they have basically billions of dollars, and they've been growing huge on their users by not like do so much revenue share, and so eventually we started to see this more the last couple of years, the Facebook hearings, and people are kind of starting to question the authority of these old school social media platforms, and they're starting to turn a bit old school because some of them has existed for around 15 years, and the model that they are operating on now, when they're still having a lot of user growth, their Facebook is still growing, Twitter is still growing, Instagram is still growing, all these platforms are still growing. They starting to have like growing pains because they are operating on this old model that sort of worked maybe better when there was less humans using the internet. This clickbait era, this like bait era, this share bait era, where you can only create value if you create shock-based content. Same as the mainstream media has worked for a very, very long time. And now when we have new technology like Steem blockchain is using, where you're using proof of brain and where you're distributing tokens to the average users of the networks, you can make new networks that doesn't operate on volume, but that operates on intelligence, and that people are basically having like a digital job where they're practicing their intelligence daily. They are advertising whatever they want daily. They are perceiving daily, and they can see that the improvement, the quality of the network is directly tied to how you're behaving on the network. And if you're a responsible sort of user, then you can sort of create a better network. And that's exactly what Steem blockchain is doing, where they sort of realizing there are a few things that sort of limits these other platforms and why they create so much chaos. So we're starting to realize that there are sort of three ingredients to sort of create an amazing network. So first, people should sort of try to move towards speaking so everyone sort of understands in many ways, and that's something that we're starting to see more people starting to use English, because they're starting to see, well, if you want maximum reach, if you want to be able to influence maximum amount of people, you have to use a language that more people understand, right? And English is amazing for that. The other language is basically, we're starting to go into this truth era where, you sort of you need to like you need to build stuff on a bedrock foundation in many ways. So a language of truth is something that people should sort of try to move towards more, and not try to make up lies themselves, but try to move towards more truth, be more truthful, and try to be honest. Like if they don't know something, then they should just say, well, I don't know, I'm ignorant, but I can expand my borders of ignorance. Then a big key here that we're starting to realize with these new platforms, and that's and one of the big reasons why Sacha should try the Steem blockchain, is because you need basically a monitor layer that is open to all 7 billion people. And that's something that you don't have with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And that is like, you need like a digital token, like the Steem token. You need a token that's available for everyone inside of the network. So everyone is on a network, and that everyone basically can get this token if they're using proof of brain and if they're using more responsibility. So and I really think that's one of the key things that, well, Facebook don't really have this. So they may do like 70 billion this year, but they don't have a token for their users, and they're sort of starting to see the problems of that. Like, they have this big bag of money, and no, almost nobody of the users have that. They have to like the users on Facebook, they have to try to start like a donation page, and people are doing that on YouTube also. They're starting these side donation pages and all this, and it gets kind of strange because the ideal is that you have like a token instead, and that is transparent. It's on a blockchain like the Steem blockchain, where everyone can sort of see what other people are doing and how other people are earning. And the key thing really is that proof of brain has to work. So a lot of what we sort of see is you can't, if you try to, Facebook is like, and YouTube and all these, they are like a growing centralized beast, maybe you can call it. So the idea of regulate it would probably not work that well because they already sit on billions of dollars, and they have this big bag of money, big central bag of money, and it's like, to be able to fight that is almost impossible. You have to reinvent. You have to invent something that is better. You have to use better technology, and you have to try to get people using new technology. You basically have to improve people's life by using programmable money and programmable tokens, programmable blockchains, where you can use you don't have to fight the old system, but you're using intelligence to create something that's better. And when people see the rewards from something that is truly better, then eventually people get to buy in to sort of make a switch. Of course, it's going to take a little bit of time because people need more computing power in their hands, and most people, it's kind of hard to get a new high-end phone because they're very expensive. So we don't a lot in the blockchain community, we don't really think that the idea of regulating would sort of work well. uh, if you try to regulate Facebook and all of this, I mean, people are still using these platforms, and if they don't have a better alternative, it kind of like they're kind of stuck there. And the one that's losing is eventually the user, that sort of feels all the time that their freedom is sort of more and more restricted. So the solution is proof of brain and responsible ecosystems that, instead of using vanity metrics like likes and shares that doesn't really cost you anything, if you use something that actually costs the user something, but that still is programmable like a token. So you're a stake owner and you can still earn by just being a stake owner, but you vote on other people, and then you give a little bit of what you have earned. So you feel that you're giving something that is worth something, so you don't want to waste it on nonsense. So you have an incentive to sort of keep the network more healthy in the long run, and that instead of everyone being an independent island, everyone is working more win-win. It's like, if people are running on the same kind of digital token and everyone is sort of earning it, everyone in the ecosystem that is using intelligence, then eventually you get a healthier ecosystem, and then people have the experience of, yeah, this, because it sort of becomes like micro regulation instead. So each user becomes like a mini regulator, and if a lot of people are distributing tokens around, then like on the Steem blockchain, then it's like they're mini regulating stuff all the time. And if everyone is all the time growing in intelligence, eventually you move to something that is way better, way more sophisticated. But I don't really think there's any way to sort of do it with these super big empires right now, because, as I said, I mean, they sit on billions of dollars and they have a monopoly on the market. So the only way is to use new technology and try stuff out, like really try out these new networks. And it's very interesting because these new networks, they kind of change. They are more adulthood like, where everyone is playing on the same sort of field. So you have less of this like one person and then everyone follows that person. So that's kind of interesting, right? So we need new technology, we need better technology, and also we need increased awareness that that there are geeks that are working on better technology, and that still in this industry there's a lot of stuff that's going to fail, but a lot of stuff also will sort of succeed as well. But eventually it should move to the consumer, that they are basically more in control. But then you need more decentralized ecosystems, you need to look at that more, and that is sort of what the whole sort of blockchain industry that is still extremely young is still sort of looking at, like how can you make better ecosystems where the consumer has more influence, and where they decide what happens with technology. And it's going to move to this because you see it more with these new systems, that people that are on them, they love them because they see the benefit of it, and they really see no hope in trying to change these old networks. But it's amazing that people are getting increased awareness for these big monopolies, that it doesn't really seem to be that sustainable, because yeah, well, it's just not sustainable, right? Because it's just too much centralized power, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Have a great day, DTube and the Steem blockchain. And everyone else, they should also try the Steem blockchain, by the way, because it actually is a win-win ecosystem that is win-win for everyone. Yeah, have an awesome day.